Man, everybody, I am Cantonese Cat. Hey everyone, Cantonese Cat here. I want to do an update on CleanSpark. I usually try to do these minor updates around midweek and then maybe on the weekend. A little bit dangerous to do this right before CPI data will be released at 8:30 Eastern tomorrow. The reason why is because there could be huge volatility, and when things happen when I'm wrong, then it could be because of that. When I'm right, it's because of that. So maybe it's kind of pointless to look at technical analysis anyway. I don't really think that's how it works. I think a lot of times we are looking at technical analysis because we don't know what's going to happen. We're trying to extrapolate data by looking at price action, looking at volumes, trying to figure out what big money is doing in order to try to figure out what their moves are so we can try to figure out what our moves are, or if there's even going to be any moves at all. I mean, sometimes I just want to know what big money are doing, and if it makes sense to me, I just can't, just kind of ride it out. It doesn't bother me. That's kind of where I'm at when it comes to a very volatile stock like CleanSpark. They can go from a month from like $13 down to, like 6.5. Next thing you know, it can go up to like 23, or you can go up to like 24, and all of a sudden it can end up being like in $15 range. I mean, this is pretty insane volatility if you think about it. This is not for the faint of heart. But regardless, if you are able to identify and look at trend, if you're able to find whether or not something is going through any trend exhaustion, that doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter what the actual price is if you can just ride the majority of the trend. You can try to look at the trend at a smaller time frame, which are a lot harder to predict as opposed to a higher time frame. But if you can identify the trend, why not just ride it out and be lazy, especially you got a day job like me. You can go and look into doing day trading, but the probability of success is not for everybody. Most people fail. Most people actually lose a lot of money before they actually start making money. But anyway, I'm done with that rant here. Let's look at the monthly chart of CleanSpark, the day before CPI. Right off the bat, if you can look at here, you see the volume just been going up like crazy. I mean, the interest of this stock has just been absolutely insane in the year 2023. In 2024, volume is even higher the first few months. And right now, sure, price gone sideways because look at how far parabolically it gone up. Look at how far the volume has kind of gone up. Of course, it's okay for price to go sideways here a little bit. Why else is the price going sideways? Let's look at the volume shelf over here. You can see that, well, it's trying to break above this volume shelf right around here, 23, 24, but it's got rejected. Why is that? Because there's a lot of price history over here too, and maybe over here too, and there's a lot of price memory over here. And there's still some level of supply, and there's still some level of algorithmic trading to end up selling over here at this level. That's completely understandable. Why else are they selling over here at this level? Well, let's pull up the monthly Ichimoku cloud. The Ichimoku cloud is just basically another way to look for resistance and support. It's being squeezed between two things right now. It's being squeezed by the cloud above, and it looks like it's trying to punch through the cloud to close above the cloud last month, but it didn't sustain and actually dropping back down away, fell back down away from the cloud. And it looks like it might be trying to backtest some of the other supports down here. The Tenkan over here can serve as pretty decent support right now. It's at price of $14. And then you also have the Kenjin line right underneath. Right now it's around like 13.2, 13.3, somewhere around there. But so far it looks like it's a very, very impulsive trend. It had a bullish Tenkan Kijun cross, which tells you that this trend is probably going to end up going up a lot higher over time. Looks like the bullishness probably have just started to happen. Just like when you have a little bit of a bearish cross over here, you can end up having a pretty bad bear trend going here for quite some time. It looks like we're at the correlate of the opposite over here. We just have a cross over here that is bullish. Tenkan's above Kijun, and that could potentially end up pushing the price up higher, especially if the Tenkan is able to serve as support to kind of continue to push up higher, which looks like is what it's trying to do. I would not be surprised if price bounced all the way down to 14. I would not necessarily expect that. I'll show you why here in a second. But you're also basically finding support at this big giant volume shelf over here. This big giant volume shelf over here doesn't need to be broken. And once it breaks above this 23, 24 level, I think it can go up a lot higher, potentially even to like the top of the cloud over here. And it might bounce around here in the cloud a little bit, potentially even push through it over the next like 12 to 18 months. I think there's a possibility of that happening because of how powerful this bull trend has been looking. But that's kind of one of the support that you're looking at, 14, maybe 13.2, 13.3 range down here. I'll also tell you as to why I think that price may not go back down that much lower, because instead of looking at the Ichimoku cloud, you can also look at the Super Ichi cloud. Super Ichi cloud is just a version of the Ichimoku cloud that takes into account of the super trend, which takes into account more of like volume, throughout the movement of these different volume over here, and use that as a part of the calculation together for the Ichimoku cloud here as well. And you can see here is that price has already kind of backtested the Tenkan right here. It had already had a bullish Tenkan Kijun crossover here on the Super Ichi cloud here as well. And price has basically just bounced from the Tenkan once and twice to establish that as support. And sure enough, it also had got rejected over here by the Super Ichi cloud, fell down in the cloud and tried to find support underneath before its bullish continuation. That's what's really looking to be. I have suspicion that because this is also having a little bit more touches over here, perhaps the Super Ichi cloud is going to be served as more of like an algorithmic support over here. Before price could find support going up higher. Basically, what it's trying to do right now is trying to find a higher low, because this is a clearly bull trend, right? You're talking about higher high, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and it's just right now it's just trying to find a higher low, and it's trying to find a higher low at these very important supports down here on the Super Ichi cloud. So I would not be surprised if it doesn't go further than that. Right now, the Tenkan here for the Super Ichi cloud is around 15. So it could very well end up just finding support at 15 and just end up bouncing up further. It did dip a little bit below it, but so did the month before, and that's okay, right? And if it ends up going down here to 14, which is going to be the Kijun here on the Super Ichi cloud, that could also serve as very, very strong support as a confluence, as you see of some of the other support that I've shown you earlier. Now, what about the Bollinger Band? What is the Bollinger Band showing us? Well, the Bollinger Band is showing us that last month is closed way above the upper Bollinger Band, just got a little bit of a wick kind of dangling from the upper Bollinger Band right here. So it's not surprising that this month end up closing or end up being inside a Bollinger Band here. It doesn't mean that it's going to end up closing inside. Not necessarily. It could end up bouncing up, and it could end up having a very similar candle over here, where it's just a wick kind of dangling up, and you can keep on dragging the upper Bollinger Band, just keep on going up along with it. 20-month moving average certainly looks like it's going very, very strong over here, doesn't it? Looks like it's just nicely crawling up. Looks like it's a very, very nice monthly bull trend that's going to keep pushing price up higher. That's what it's looking like. You also have a Bollinger Band expansion upwards and downwards. So it's going to, over time, it's going to allow the Bollinger Band to continue to expand to allow price to go up higher. And price is also going to drag the Bollinger Band also higher together with it. So all of these things are very positive, development that I'm seeing in the Bollinger Band. Although the Bollinger Band is not going to tell you too much about, potential support. Right now, the upper Bollinger Band is around 17. So any prices underneath of that actually already have a little bit of a de-risk right here. I actually feel pretty good whenever you have such a bullish trend over here and price going sideways and close inside the upper Bollinger Band. I actually feel relatively safer as opposed to like buying all the way out here, was way away from the upper Bollinger Band. If you bought at like 24, 25, that's basically what you did. Like you bought something that's like way overbought, basically, way overextended. But buying down here, not a bad thing actually. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. The other thing to look at is are there any signs for any monthly chart exhaustion? The answer is no. There's not really any kind of like bearish divergences over here. Price just been going up. Even the RSI is forming higher high, higher low here on the monthly, and even the RSI for a Bitcoin miner to have it go as high as like less than 70. This is still nothing. Right now I think RSI is like in the 50s. It can go up potentially in like the 80s and 90s for a miner. This is like nothing. When the bull trend really starts to get heated, it can go up that high. Is it going to? Nobody knows, right? But if you look at a Bollinger Band expansion, if you look at the bull trend, that looks like it's just kind of started, just like how the bear trend over here is just like kind of like got started. Sometimes these things can go on for longer than you could potentially expect, right? Because if you look at what Bitcoin did, Bitcoin looks like it's going through the very same thing. The last cycle when it's going through the same thing, you still got another like year and a half of juice left. Last time the cycle before that, when you're looking at the same thing, you got like 2 years of juice left, right? So it's not inconceivable that CleanSpark is just at the beginning stages of this bull market, or at least in the early to mid innings of the bull market that can potentially go on for another 12 to 18 months. It's possible. RSIs certainly look like it could potentially go even higher if it wants to, if there's liquidity coming in. There's a lot more potential for CleanSpark moving forward. So I keep saying the same thing. I said the same thing around 25. I said the same thing around 15. None of this really matters to me. I look at trend, right? And if you don't like looking at trend, if you just want to look at price, I don't know what to tell you. You probably shouldn't be listening to my videos. The other thing to also look at, let's change the time frame here a little bit. Look at the weekly. It looks like it's just been kind of consolidating around this range right here. It does look like it's kind of got a little bit of a rollover look to it, doesn't it? But the problem with being bearish on CleanSpark right now is that the whole trend right here is very, very bullish. You're literally seeing this in a very, very high definition here. You have a high here, higher low here, higher low, higher high, equal low, higher low, higher high, try to find higher low right here. This is like high definition telling you like what the bull trend looks like. You pull out the bull market support band very nicely right now. It's at the very, very, how do you say that? Very confluence level of support right here. This is around 13.5 right here is where bull market support band is located. So it probably end up coming back down here. Around 13 and 14 range is going to have like a bunch of random supports over here from the monthly Ichimoku cloud, from the bull market support band, from the Super Ichi cloud, and even from the weekly Ichimoku cloud. You're also going to end up having support down here too around 14, because there's a confluence of the weekly Kijun also around 14 here as well. So you're going to have a lot of different kind of supports down here. I really think that there's going to be a pretty strong support here around around the 13-14 range. You can also see like the top of this small volume shelf over here. It's also around there, so you're going to end up with a lot of support down underneath. It doesn't have to. It can end up just forming a little bit of a higher low over here before going up, because right now it's still at the bottom of this volume shelf up here. There's no sign that necessarily has to break down to test the next volume shelf down here. It's still right here. So, but there's a lot of confluence of support under here, around 13-14 range is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is the trend bullish? There's no question about it. 20 above 50 above 100, all of them are pointing up. Like, there's no question that that's a pretty strong bullish trend right here. So overall, I'm pretty encouraged by CleanSpark. And if it does drop back down to 13, all it's doing is just basically back testing this resistance over here, break out, and then flip this resistance over here as support back test going up. I'm not even sure it's necessarily going to have to do that. But if it does that, it would actually be a pretty bullish thing, allowing further bullish continuation to happen. I do think that the bearish divergence has already kind of starting to work out. I do think the bearish divergence that you're seeing between price and RSI 14 over here, I do see that this bearish divergence or price is just kind of going up, looking a little bit exhausted here on the weekly, when RSI is just kind of going down, looking a little bit exhaustive over here. I think this whole bearish divergence has already been played out. What I'm actually seeing a little bit more over time here is I'm seeing more and more like these kind of bullish diversions that are kind of building up, where price just kind of gone sideways a little bit down at this time frame over here on the weekly chart, and RSI just kind of completely reset all the way from, we're really talking about like price kind of go up with RSI in the 80, and you're talking about RSI resetting down to the 50s, where price is a lot higher compared to what it was. So this whole move right here, sideways over here, had reset significantly for the RSI, and this is a very, very nice bullish divergence that you're really kind of seeing over here. So I like the way that CleanSpark's looking. Can it go down a little bit further to backtest that? Sure. If it goes back down to like 13 or 14, I think it would be a buy range for me, and I end up trying to buy as much as I can before its bullish continuation. I mean, if you even look at like the diagonal trend, like it's not even hitting this. Like, this is how bullish CleanSpark has been. That's what happens when things go parabolic and everybody just start talking about it. When video views are like 1,000 views per video for CleanSpark, that's what happens is you have a move like that, everybody get interested, and now everybody's stuck and it's kind of going sideways. They're all experiencing pain. They don't know what to do. They I don't care. I'm just holding. I'm just going to keep buying it, and it ends up hitting down here at the range. I'm not even sure if it's going to happen or not. If it does, great. If it doesn't, fine. I'll just keep going up with it. But the trend is bullish. If you look at the unbalanced volume, that also doesn't really tell you too much, with the exception that it does look like you also have a little bit of a bullish divergence here recently. So all these bullish divergences here basically is telling you that, yeah, there's bullish energy that's being built up, and it still hasn't really been realized yet, or it hasn't really been expanded yet. It's just been building up all these bullish energy over here with these bullish divergences that I just kind of show you with these different kind of indicators. It's telling you that there's actually a lot of pressure that's being built up. One last thing, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to keep this video too long. One last thing is that, how do you know how I know this is a pretty good setup? Because buying volume over here is high, selling volume over here is decreased, is low, buying volume over here is high. And so far over the last couple of months, you have some, sideways and maybe even some selling action over here. Volume is low. So far it does look like there is a lot of, bullish momentum that's being built up, but things just got a little bit short-term exhausted, and it's trying to work up some of the energy here, and it's trying to reset some of the indicators over here. And now the RSI is back to 50s. I think there's going to be a lot more room for it to run up even higher, and there's no exhaustion on the monthly trend. So that's all I got. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.